You know that feeling, right? That little light pops up on your dashboard, the check engine light, and your heart just sinks a little. Well, a lot of the time it's caused by this one tiny part, the EVAP purge valve. So today we're going to break down exactly how you can test it yourself, step by step, and maybe save a trip to the shop. So you're just driving along, minding your own business, and then bam, there it is, the check engine light. Or hey, maybe you've been noticing a faint smell of gas lately. These are classic signs that your car's evaporative emission system, the EVAP system, is trying to get your attention. But what is it actually trying to say? Okay, so before we can even think about testing it, we've got to know what it is we're looking at. What in the world is this little purge valve, and why can it cause such a headache? At its heart, the EVAP purge valve is all about emissions control. I mean, think about it. Your gas tank is always creating fuel vapors. And instead of just letting those fumes escape into the atmosphere, which is not good, the EVAP system traps them. The purge valve is basically the gatekeeper that decides exactly when to send those trapped vapors into the engines so they can be burned up safely with the rest of the fuel. A really simple way to picture it is just as a smart vent for your gas tank that's controlled by your car's computer. See, when the car is off, that vent should be sealed up tight. But when the engine is running and everything's warmed up, the computer says, okay, time to open up, and lets the vapors flow into the engine. The trouble starts when that little vent gets stuck open or slammed shut. All right, now for the fun part. And the best part is, the very first test you can do requires absolutely no special tools. Seriously, this is a quick check that pretty much anyone can do, and it'll give you a fantastic idea of what's going on with your valve. Let's walk through it. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. First, find the valve and pull off the hose coming from the charcoal canister. That's the in pipe for the vapors. Just leave the other hose that goes to the engine connected. Now, start the car. For the first few minutes, while the engine's still cold, just put your finger right over that open port. You should feel nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Then, you just hang out for a bit. After about 5, maybe 10 minutes, once the car's all warmed up, check it again with your finger. Now, you should feel a distinct pulsing, a little vacuum trying to suck on your fingertip. So, what does all that tell you? Well, it's actually pretty black and white. If you start that engine and you feel a vacuum on your finger right away, that's a bad sign. It means your purge valve is stuck wide open, and it's constantly dumping vapors into your engine when it shouldn't be. That's a fail, plain and simple. Now, on the flip side, what if you wait 10 minutes, the engine is nice and warm, and you still feel nothing, not a thing? Well, that also points to a big problem. That means the valve is probably stuck closed and it's never opening up to do its job. So the key takeaway here is it's got to be closed when it's cold and it's got to be open when it's warm. Anything else means you've likely found your culprit. That first test is awesome, it really is. But if you're the kind of person who wants to be absolutely 100% certain, you can move on to a couple more tests using some basic tools you probably have in the garage. This will help you figure out if the problem is mechanical or if it's electrical. We're going to break this down into 2 key checks. First, a mechanical test. We're just trying to see, can the valve physically open and close like it's supposed to? And second, an electrical test, to see if the little electronic part inside that tells it to open is actually working. Let's start with that mechanical check. For this one, you'll need to take the valve completely off the car. It's usually pretty easy. And this is a super simple test. We're literally just going to see if you can blow air through it, to check if its internal seal is any good. Here's the deal. With that valve in your hand, no power going to it, it should be completely sealed. Try to blow through it. You shouldn't be able to get any air through at all. If you can, well, it's stuck open. Next, you can carefully apply 12 volts of power to its little electrical pins. You should hear a very obvious click as the valve snaps open. Now, when you try to blow through it, the air should go right through, no problem. If it doesn't click, or if it doesn't open up, you know it's failed mechanically. Okay, but what if the valve seems to be working just fine mechanically? The problem could be on the electrical side. And for this, you're going to need a simple multimeter to check for 2 things: voltage coming from the car and the resistance inside the valve itself. This chart breaks it all down. First, check the voltage. With your car key in the on position, test the wiring connector that plugs into the valve. You should be getting around 12 volts. If you see 0, then the problem isn't your valve. It's probably the wiring or a blown fuse. Second, check the resistance. Test the 2 pins on the valve itself. A good one will usually read somewhere between 20 and 50 ohms, but you should always double-check the spec for your particular car. If your meter shows infinite resistance, that means the coil inside is broken and you definitely need a new valve. And finally, just so you know all the options, there's the way a professional mechanic would get 100% confirmation. And that involves plugging in a fancy scan tool. This is really the most direct test there is. A good scan tool with what they call bidirectional controls can basically talk to your car's computer and tell the purge valve to open and close, right there on command. It's the ultimate way to see if the valve is actually listening to the signals it's being sent. So, we've gone through the no tools test, the blow-through test, the multimeter test. We've covered a lot of ground. So let's boil all of that down into one final verdict. How do you know for sure if you're holding a good valve or a bad one? Let's put it all together. A good, healthy valve is going to stay shut when it has no power. It won't pull a vacuum until the engine gets warm. It'll give you a nice, crisp click when you power it up, and it'll have the right electrical resistance. A bad valve, on the other hand, is going to be one of three things. It's stuck open, it's stuck closed, or it's electrically dead. It really is that simple. And hey, remember that check engine light that started this whole thing? If you happen to have a code reader, these are some of the most common error codes that point their finger directly at a faulty purge valve or something wrong in its circuit. If you see one of these, it's a huge clue that you are on the right track. So there you have it. From a simple test with your finger to a full electrical diagnosis, you now have the knowledge to figure out what your car is trying to tell you. The only question left is, what's it going to say?